Alright, so a bit of a side note to start off this video. It's just come through that Connor McDavid will be suspended for the next 3 games. I know, I can't believe it as well. They actually pulled through. But in all seriousness, I do think that the NHL made the right call here. My ballpark guess was around 2 to 4 games, so this is perfectly fine. And to make it even more fair, they gave Myers the exact same suspension, which, again, I think is the correct decision. I'm seeing some Oiler fans on Twitter complaining that Myers should have gotten more games because his was after the play, which makes no sense. They try to justify it by saying that McDavid's was in the heat of the moment, which I don't really understand. Both players had the same intent, but it doesn't matter because the call is final. McDavid will not play against the Canucks on Thursday. Either way though, I imagine that will be a very spirited game. But on to the main point of this video. I didn't mention this in my Oiler Canuck recap, but according to a lot of insider analysts, again, take this with a grain of salt, this comes from the same people that spew all of this garbage out all the time, but I'll comment on it because it spread like wildfire. Apparently, JT Miller was close to not playing in that game against the Oilers because he was going to get shipped off to the Rangers, but last minute it fell through and didn't end up happening. Talk about dropping a bombshell of a headline, my god. But anyways, thankfully that didn't end up happening because I really do want to keep Miller. I find it hard to see a world where the Canucks trade JT and they instantaneously get better as a result of that trade. Because let me tell you, no matter what the price is for JT Miller, it's very hard to fill the role of what is essentially the mold of a perfect playoff performer. He's exactly what you want in the playoffs. He's a top-line center that can play a good two-way game at his best. Not to mention he just came off of a 103-point season. Like really, what are you going to get on the open market that's going to make you better in that situation? When I was hearing JT Miller trade, instantly I thought to myself, okay, well if it's the Rangers, I'm expecting Braden Schneider, I'm looking at Alexis Lafreniere, I'm looking at a package with a first-round pick, you know, the good shit. But when I saw the rumored return that the Rangers were supposedly giving up, I was very disappointed to see Phil Heedle's name, along with Charlie Lindgren and a conditional first-round pick. Like seriously, are you kidding me? If that trade actually went through, and that was the negotiated price for JT Miller, just hang up the phone, Alvin. Honestly, man, you're not going to get anything that's worth JT Miller. There are very few realistic pieces out there that I would actually accept for a guy that's as impactful as JT Miller when he's at his best. So for me, I want to keep the guy at all costs because you had yourself a winning formula last year. If you can get the guys back to the same page, acquire a defenseman, then you'll be fine. Last thing I want to mention in this video, and it goes back to me calling out the media a couple of weeks ago. If there's anyone that needs to get traded, it's the people that interview these players post-game, because I've never heard such stupid questions in my life. After all of these rumors boiled over and JT Miller still played in the game, and he played quite well, he got 2 assists, he was interviewed post-game, and this is the first question that he's asked.
Knowing that the uncertainty's there, just sort of savoring what's been a pretty great run for you in the city?
Alright, first of all, ridiculous question. He says, knowing that you've had a good run here in the city. Even Miller just laughs it off because what are you supposed to say to that? He says, nice try. But it gets worse. Directly after that, I don't know who this reporter is, but she says something that literally makes my head hurt. Doesn't at all read the room of how Miller just reacted to the previous question. Listen to this.
I'm going to try to.
Okay.
If this was your last game in Vancouver, what does it mean to you to play here?
I'm not getting into this.
So hear me out. Miller after the first question goes, nice try, you have to be a bit more clever than that. Lightens the room up a little bit, everyone laughs, and then she goes, okay, let me try, and doubles down on the whole last game in Vancouver narrative, which is not true at all. And I'm sitting there thinking, why would you say that? You cover this team, do you want them to go home and just feel crappy about the whole situation? And this is happening after a win. Even after beating the Oilers, you can't fully enjoy it because you're being asked some of the most low IQ questions of all time. But I don't know, man, that's just my thoughts. I want them to keep Miller. I hope that he stays. The Canucks play against Buffalo tomorrow night. Let me know your thoughts on this whole situation and where you stand on it. But yeah, that's all for me in this one. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be sure to catch you in the next one. Subscribe if you're new. Peace out, and take care.